This is the Policy Advisory Committee. We'll start with attendance, we'll run the room, see who's here. Andrew, we will start with you.
Andrew Hennies, attorney for the committee.
Rob Mezzanotte, assistant superintendent.
Katie Zimmerman, parent representative. Erin Earl, school committee chair.
Jennifer Lima, school committee member.
Mia Thompson, art teacher and parent.
Abigail Ryan, student.
Laura Bateman, parent.
Okay, awesome. Next thing on the agenda is citizens' comments. There is nobody here. Did everybody get a chance to approve, look at the minutes from our last meeting, which was on May 26th? Can I get a motion to approve?
I would make a motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, awesome. So I want to thank everybody for meeting in July because our last meeting in June had to be canceled. We have some policies on the agenda that are, well, all of our policies are related to students, but like some of these are in effect, we'd like to get in effect as early in the school year as possible. So meeting today gives us the ability, hopefully, to move some of these forward to the school committee. There were a couple that Ken had asked us to look at that he had put through drafts for. The first one on the agenda is the meal payment policy. So I thought that we would go through that one first. He had given us a draft. I don't know if everybody had had a chance to look through it or not yet. It's the one that says meal payment policy revision dated 6/5.
There it goes.
Okay, and what he did was he took our current policy and anything that's different from the current policy in here is in red. So anything that's in black is already in our current policy, just to clarify. Like instead of redlining it, he kind of did it in a new form and redlined it that way. So basically this policy outlines what we do when there is a non-payment of student lunch or breakfast meals. This last had been updated in 2018, so it definitely needed some updating, not just in terms of like logistics, but also just in terms of philosophies around feeding children in our district. So we'll just kind of, I see some people have had comments and I don't know who has not had a chance to walk through it, so we'll just kind of walk through it from the top. I had a question on the philosophy. One of the sentences in the philosophy says, in order to satisfy both financial and moral responsibilities. I don't love the word moral when it comes to things that the school department is talking about. Is there a better word or a different way to phrase that?
Is it personal responsibilities?
Yeah, personal, I think, is better than moral.
The personal responsibilities
Sentence.
of the school system.
The whole sentence is bad.
Is it a legal, is there a legal burden, like a legal responsibility from the school system to not leave a kid without lunch?
Whose responsibilities are we talking about, the schools or the students?
Okay. The North Kingston School Department is the meal accounting procedures.
The schools.
District.
Schools.
I think the way it's written here.
However, the school department organizes.
I think that sentence is referring to
It's us.
us,
Okay.
yes.
It's the school department. So they're basically saying, we are a business and we will charge for food, but we understand that some parents and guardians won't be able to pay for food. In order to satisfy both the financial and moral, and in this case they're using moral as like the right thing to do, we have these philosophies that like we will treat them with dignity, we'll never send them out of line because they don't have money on their account. Like we will have like procedure on how we charge for stuff, like blah blah blah. So it's basically saying like we are trying to get money, but we will not embarrass children
Right,
while
and we
doing
will
so.
feed you
And we
if
will
you don't
feed
have
them.
Right.
money,
Yeah.
right.
So that's what we're trying to say, is,
Like the,
In order to satisfy our obligations in regard to meal service?
in order to satisfy,
Do we need an order at all? Could it just say the following philosophy is put in
That's
place?
what I was
I think so
thinking,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, too many words, we can probably just shorten it.
yeah, we don't have it at all. So I would just say,
So strike that.
the whole thing is a philosophy though.
Right,
So we
yeah,
don't
like
need,
we're
it's
in
like
the
a philosophy
philosophy.
within a philosophy, you don't need even
Mhm.
that, like caveat, you could just say, like, we charge for meals, but we know that sometimes students don't have meals, and our philosophy is, like,
Like we're saying, so we have, it
it would just, I think you just continue with the sentence, like it's a paragraph.
We could do something like this, it says, however, the school department recognizes that there are occasional special circumstances that prevent a parent or guardian from keeping current with meal payments. We can just do as such,
I was
comma,
literally just gonna
Yeah.
say those exact words.
and then
yeah.
bullet it, yep.
Yep,
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't understand why bullet 2 is there. Like, I totally get number 1, right? All students will be treated with dignity, like, no matter what.
I think probably number 2 is so that like lunch personnel at building A are handling things the same way as lunch personnel at building B would be my guess.
Yeah, that's right, that's what I'm reading
That's not
too.
what it says, though.
I think it is.
A consistent district-wide procedure regarding meal charges and the collection of such charges will be followed.
So it's
Yes.
not different from school to school.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, sure, but that's. I guess our philosophy is that we're consistent.
yeah, like
Mhm.
lunch is X and we are gonna handle the collection or non-collection the same in each school.
I do these bullets are weird, but you do you. Abby does too. Like, I get what we're trying to say, but like, basically the philosophy is, we have to charge for school lunches. If a kid can't, like, we're gonna try to be consistent with our communication, how we charge for them, and we will treat students with dignity if they don't have money. Like, I think that's a sentence, not 4 bullets, personally.
I am fine with that. This is the draft that Kevin put forward.
I understand.
am open to changes.
I will draft a sentence and then you all can decide. I don't care that much though.
I mean, to me, I don't know, I don't know if it has to be. I read the second one as being, there can't be, schools can't do their own thing.
Mhm.
That's how I read it. The third one is, you know, communication. I mean, I can almost go without saying, but it's okay if it's in there. I think the fourth one, Jen, your point on that is a little, I think it makes sense. I'm not sure what we're getting at there with the self-responsibility of the student necessarily.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure that that's, again, I don't know what we're trying to say.
That if I put $100 on my kid's card, that they aren't going to the vending machine 900 times and buying Doritos. That's self-responsibility with the meal plans. As I interpret it as a mom,
Gotcha.
hypothetically.
As I've lived it as a father.
So I would say maybe, rather than promote self-responsibility of the student, because that's a little clunky, I would just say promote student responsibility.
Mhm. I might even add something like in terms of use, like use of said money or something, like, you know what I mean, like,
basically it's
Student
saying.
financial responsibility?
Well, how they use something that kind of alludes to, like, if your kid blows it all on Doritos, that's not our problem, right? Like, something to that point.
Yeah,
But like that's not the like that's where I'm getting caught up is like this is the philosophy. So like our philosophy is like that we believe all children need food to learn. Like our philosophy is that we don't want to embarrass children if they don't have
Right.
money. Our philosophy is like that we are gonna serve like the best quality food that we can within the constraints that we have for how much it costs, and that we're gonna try to keep costs as low to families
Yeah.
as possible. Like that's more of like the philosophy part of it to me. Like philosophy is like
mhm,
big picture, not like if your kid blows stuff at Doritos, like whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. I like that way better.
I do kind of agree. It's not like we're not in position
Yeah.
to tell you or your child how they wanna spend their food
Me-
money, you know?
Let me try to draft a different philosophy. Not to like over nitpick it, but like it just.
Yeah, it says underneath guidelines, parents, guardians are strongly encouraged to monitor their students' meal activity through blah, 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 blah.
Mm.
So you're already
Just
saying it.
Take that last bullet
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, we can take it out.
Because the other ones seem more in line with like a philosophy and overarching
Mhm.
idea, and we don't say them really anywhere else, like in broad terms.
And even though so to that end, I wonder if we want to think about changing the name of the policy from like meal payment policy to like something that encompasses the broader like student meals, right? Because we're not just talking about paying for it, we're talking about feeding students. I mean, the two do go hand in hand, but it's more than just,
My guess is, do we have to have this one? Like, is this a rule
The policy?
Policy?
about payments?
I
I don't
No.
think so.
not that I'm aware of. I mean, I do think it's a good idea to have it because this is a consistent issue throughout the state. So, I mean, I have some,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying we should get rid of it. I was just curious, like if we had autonomy over scope.
yep,
I agree with, I think the first three bullets are sufficient. I don't think that last bullet is needed. I mean, if we wanted to like add something else or make it different, we could.
I just dropped in like a smushed up version,
Respect the equitable ones.
like on the under a comment under the philosophy.
Yeah,
Or,
that works.
yeah, or we just do that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Like I feel like it's just not like it's
Yeah.
that's all we need to say
Mhm.
is like
Yeah.
we will respect students and make sure that,
I'm on board with that.
but also being financially responsible. We're not just going to give all students free meals
Mhm.
because we can't do that right now. Like that's that part that I added in about like we have this as a school department we have to be financially responsible as well.
Mhm.
The only thing that's not in here that I think that we should add is the part about all students will be treated with dignity in the
Alright,
serving
let
line.
me add that back in. Yeah. I'm not saying that we couldn't have some of these sentences lower too.
Right, but
Like,
not in the
but,
philosophy.
yeah, like.
So while you fix that, did we want to change it to using the online meal system instead of like linking to the school cafe so that we don't have to change this every time?
So I made a comment just in that section in general, like that is super procedure, not policy. Like North Kingston School Department encourages parents and guardians to prepay meals using this whatever. Like that's not
I think that's,
policy language, that's procedure language.
You think this whole thing is?
I mean, definitely that guideline part at the beginning.
I don't know, I feel like if I wanted to know anything about school meals, I might look at a school meal policy to see like, do I have to pay online? Can I pay cash? Like, how do I pay? I think there should be something about,
I hear you, but I think what Erin's saying is the policy the place for that?
No, not to that level of detail. Like, it could say like that the policy is that the school administration has to have both an option for parents to be able to pay virtually and with cash.
okay,
You know, like, that's the policy part, is that they
Okay.
can't just make everybody use school cafe because they get a fee,
gotcha.
right? So like,
Okay.
that to me is where the policy part comes in, not like, this is your options.
Okay, that's fine. I just, something where if people had a question, they could go and see.
I mean, ideally, they would go and see it on the website.
Website.
Yeah. But if we want to, as a school committee, mandate, that there has to be an option for cash, that they have to give an option for people to be able to pay online, like that
Yeah,
we
I
could
think
do.
I personally think we should.
This entire policy brand new?
No, it's been around since like 2018, if not longer. Last time it was revised was 2018.
But do we not use school cafe anymore then?
No, now we do. It used to
Yeah.
say
It said
my
school
meal
bus
bus
before, I
or
think,
whatever
right?
it used to be.
So why isn't it in red?
Because I told you Ken kind of like
Oh, that's what you meant, it's
Yeah.
half and half,
half
if
and
you
half.
will.
Yes.
I have a question about the cash being always accepted at school, because at the elementary school level, it's really hard to pay with a cash or a check. I think you have to send an envelope in like in advance, like the kids can't bring in cash for lunch.
Okay.
So at least not at Forest Park. So I know there is a way to do it, but it's kind of buried and like so difficult you can't. So you, I mean, I guess you could, but like I actually couldn't really figure out how, so I just do it online.
Okay.
Strongly discouraged.
It's strongly discouraged. I'm
Please
gonna
don't
make, I'm
pay
gonna
us
be
with
intentional
money.
or not. But you can do that at the middle school and the high school, which is nice, cause then I can just like,
Okay, cause they have
I have a little
registers.
more control actually if I know how much I've given my middle school.
Right.
Here, here's $5.
Yeah, here's $5.
See you on the
that's
flip
for
side.
Week, yeah,
Yeah.
don't ask me for any more.
Right.
Your Dorito. So I don't
Because
know.
you can't just put $5 on school bucks, or else you'll be paying a fee every time.
Right.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if that affects how we're going to word this, because technically, yes, cash is accepted, it's just really hard to do
Mm-hmm.
at the elementary level.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I threw a wrench in the works.
No, it's,
No, I think that's,
just trying to figure out what the goal of this policy is. Is there a purpose?
purpose.
To set
The
forth
purpose.
expectations regarding the resolution of non-payment for
Yes.
student lunches or breakfast. So the real goal of this original policy was basically to say what happens if people can't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that they were sending kids away hungry,
Yeah.
and they were, like, basically the school committee had to say like, yo, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, or it could have also been, and I don't wanna, we don't wanna, could be a number of things, that's part of it.
So if that is the original intent and that's what we want to continue to keep the intent, I would say one could be changed to meals can be paid for or like the school, like you said, Erin, like you have to be able to online or with cash. Like this says encourages parents, guardians to prepay for meals, but it sounds like at the elementary school you kind of have to.
I mean, you can send it in, but you have to send an envelope so many, like a week in advance or something. It gets like somehow added to your account. It's just kind of buried at the beginning of the school
So you have to pay, like you have to prepay at the elementary school.
You can prepay with cash, but you can't like send your kid with $2 to buy milk.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah.
So at minimum, let's try to change that sentence.
But at the high school and the middle school?
Yeah, cause they have cash,
can walk
cause
in
they can
with
buy ad
cash,
hoc.
right?
Yeah.
Cause they, you can't just buy milk at elementary school, is my knowledge.
You can, but it comes out of their account. I'm pretty
But
sure.
you can't just buy an orange. I think you can
Right,
just buy milk.
you can just
You
buy
can't
milk,
buy an
yeah,
orange.
the milk's the only thing a la carte,
Yeah.
but it would come out of their account. Which I think the checks or the cash that gets sent to nutrition is deposited by them into the kids' accounts,
Okay,
is how I'm imagining it.
that's what I would think.
Yeah.
So if this is for like,
Sorry, I'm looking for any part of this policy that's policy. I'm on page 2. No, I'm not trying to be flip, like I legitimately am. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 are definitely procedure. Very important procedures, would like to know procedures, but they're procedures. Number 4.
I'm gonna check on the RIDE website, because RIDE could require, they could require this is codified in the policy.
Since there's a fee attached to using school cafe, every time you deposit money and you pay, I think it's like $2.50 per, I'm adding money to the account, so you're actually, if you wanna put $50 in, you're putting in $52.50. And then that $2.50 goes to school cafe, so you're actually charging them to use, I don't know that that's, legal's not really the right word, but like, is that allowed by RIDE?
Yeah, that's definitely allowed, but
Is that
like, I don't
allowed?
think they,
Okay. Okay.
so I'm just looking at Barrington, right? So Barrington has 2 food policies. They have one that is for free and reduced lunch, and then they have the unpaid meal policies, which looks almost exactly like our original one, kind of, but it's very basic. Basically, it talks about what happens if you have a negative balance, what happens if you exceed X amount over your, it's very, like you just said, Erin, policy, like, this is what happens.
procedure. Yeah.
Yeah. But it does not go into a lot of detail. It just is what happens if there is a negative balance.
We're not even remotely following this currently. Like, students with unpaid meal balances may not charge, maybe they are actually at the middle school, a la carte items, with the exception of milk. I know that they'll let you keep getting meals when you have an unpaid balance, which is the whole point of the dignity part.
These scrunches is a little bit more, but. So what do we want this to be?
If you're curious, 80% of this document is administrative procedure according to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very procedural. I think it might just be that this was where, this was obviously, the policy was precipitated by something, you know, it obviously came from somewhere. And it might have been that they just wanted there to be some sort of documented,
District-wide.
exactly, district-wide language process that kind of gave people something to go off of, you know what I mean?
This
And
tends
I
to
think
be
they
a
probably
big
maybe.
deal. It really
What's that?
does.
Oh, no, I think-
This tends to be a big deal.
Yeah,
from
it is.
The
It
payment
is.
perspective, from the Doritos perspective, I
Yep.
mean, actually, this generates a lot of,
Yeah, so, yeah, technically, I mean, procedurally, it should probably go somewhere else.
but it is important, whatever you do is universal.
Right.
That would be what I would just caution against. And while we're at it, number 10 is probably accurate as written, but you would wanna make sure that that's interpreted correctly by administration.
Yeah, that one was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I said, I don't know
Yeah, I mean, if you read it and just interpret it as it's written, it's fine, but if that were to be interpreted as if you haven't paid your bill, you can't graduate, or you can't, financial hardship or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I always think about, okay, if somebody appealed this up to the school committee level, and like say, I'm trying to think of like the different scenarios that like having clarity would help on. Like that is most certainly one, like if you have an outstanding balance when you're leaving the district, like what that would be.
Yeah, I mean,
And then-
basically you can pursue the thing, but you can't it's just like textbooks and everything else, you can't withhold a diploma or the ability to matriculate or
Yeah, of
anything like
course.
that because you owe something,
Right,
so.
But then like also like if like a parent or guardian was mad because we were saying that they owe more money because of their kids' choices, I could see that being a
That
thing.
happens more often than you
Yeah,
think.
and then the like
Doritos.
the third one is
Does,
like
all the time.
children being denied food. Like nope, you have a negative balance, like you don't get to eat.
That
Like so
seems
those
to
are
have
the
gotten
three
better.
like big things
but
in my
yeah.
head that you
Mhm.
need some policy.
well, I would say
for.
also that there's definite, I've seen this, where the way in which students are handled if they do owe money,
There you go.
and the way that interaction happens matters. And so like, but that's not necessarily a policy language thing, but there's definite best and worst practices when it comes to that.
No, but I did like the part, I totally agree, Rob, I did like the part where it said something about like positive communication, like with the families.
Positive and clear communication among staff, administrators, students,
It
and
was
parents,
later though
guardians.
too. I thought it said it twice. Like it basically was like, if we have to tell you that you don't have any money, like we will not do it in a shaming kind of way, is how like I interpreted it.
But the person who's doing it is the person in line with like a whole crew of kids behind them oftentimes.
No, those people should be saying nothing,
Um,
in theory.
well, if
Yeah.
the kid comes and there's no money,
Oh, for like the
Like,
ad hoc, the a
yeah,
la
if the
carte
kid
stuff.
comes,
I think-
well, even for like paying for lunch when they go to scan take their ID, the kid types in their ID number, and like, sorry, sweetie, no, you don't have any money for that, so you have to have the default lunch.
I think
or-
what you're referring to is number 6.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep, the
Um,
last sentence in red
Mhm.
sort of starts to touch on it.
But like, right, there's staff member in line if the kid comes, there's no money, or there's also the formalized call that goes home, email, or
Yeah.
whatever that format that takes. So like one you have more control over, like
Mhm.
centralized control, the other one is that interpersonal interaction on the fly.
The fly one is the,
That's the hard one.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
hard because it's a people management
Yep.
thing
Yep.
and communication thing, and lunchrooms can be stressful.
Like, this is what makes me concerned, is that sentence in number 6 where it says, middle school and high school students do not pre-order meals, therefore the child nutrition services staff member will notify the student at the point of sale upon entry into the serving area prior to reaching the 5-meal threshold. That's concerning.
What's 5 meal threshold?
It's not
That comes from the one,
yeah,
before.
Once you pass the 5,
Yeah, cause it says,
Oh, so like if by Wednesday I've hit
Mhm.
my amounts for
then you go
the,
to your
Yeah.
sun butter sandwich,
right,
if I'm not mistaken, I think that's right,
Mhm.
it's usually what it is.
it's it's like your, it says,
I bet you it's sun butter.
But the way it's set up for payment, the kid's already taken what they want or chosen their food and gone to check out.
Right.
And so
it's saying that that's not
but
supposed
it
to happen.
says here
Right, so it's
prior
that upon
to,
entry.
prior to entry.
prior to
yeah.
entry.
How would they know?
That's
That's the
what concerns me.
problem.
They wouldn't.
So,
Oh, maybe it's done that.
number 4 references the 5 or more meals. It says, after the above procedure has been followed, students with a negative meal balance after 5 or more meals will continue to have access to a designated reimbursable breakfast and lunch option. But designated meals shall consist of a limited selection of pre-approved meal options that meet all applicable yada, yada,
That's
yada.
actually much better than I've seen.
Options may rotate based on menu planning, product availability, inventory management, etc. May include a sandwich, an alternate entree, fruit, vegetable, and milk for lunch, etc. So it kind of gets into what that would be.
So are we saying that if the student has a negative meal account balance, they can get whatever the free and reduced lunch is, basically? Is that what I read there? No?
No.
One of the
Free-
5 choices.
Free and
right?
reduced lunch has nothing.
No,
to
it's
do
just
with
saying like what the like general meal
Yeah,
would be.
Yeah.
and see, if you look at your
Yeah.
original policy, that what it says is once you pass the 5 meals, you'll lunch of sunflower and jelly butter sandwich with fruit and vegetable.
that. Where are you reading that?
That's the original,
The current-
your
the
current
current.
policy, your current
Oh,
policy.
okay.
Like current
That's what they all
policy.
say.
Yeah.
Somebody got one, so one district wrote this and they copied and pasted
Yeah,
it.
they did.
Up
And
and
it was
down
a
the board.
nice-
Sun Butter
it was a-
Association.
It was,
Yeah.
it was bad for a time. I don't know if you remember, like, there was a time when it was bad. It had like a very bad vibe going on.
Warwick ended up on the View.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really bad. Yeah,
So back to the policy.
yep.
This is procedure
Yeah, it was
stuff
bad.
that
It was
we're
like,
talking about.
it was like a shaming
Yeah, it was
bad.
awful.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some things that,
So should all these like procedural things or details get put into a different place? I
That's what
guess
I'm
is the
wondering,
question.
you know what I mean?
Like
I don't
in
know,
the
like,
handbooks.
that's, the thing is, where would that place be? Would it be the website, would it be Canvas, would it be all of the above, would it be multiple things, you know
Can
what I
I
mean?
just
Like-
say, I just as like a parent who there's just so many policies and procedures in place here in general, is it possible to like just have both of them in the same document? Can this just be meal, takeout payment, meal, policy and procedure? And then that way you can divide this document into 2 places, cause I'm just thinking as a parent, like,
Yeah.
okay, so great, I have the policy in front of me, but what if I need to know the procedures? Where am I gonna find that now?
I think, I think, if I may, I think we've tried to kind of separate policy and procedures. That's been, since I've been on this group, there's been a lot of like deconstructing of policies that were not really policies because we wanna try to keep things, but I hear what you're saying, from a user standpoint, it's nice to have things in one place, but what can happen when you're mixing policy and procedures is it can start to become problematic, because procedures are more likely to change,
yeah,
because
like if
things
they
change.
change one thing, they have to come
And then
back to
all
the
of a
school
sudden, when
committee.
procedures change, and they're written in a policy, you have to go and change the policy, because now you're out of compliance. So, we try to keep them separated for that reason, but, you know, in reality, it makes sense to have things more conveniently accessible. I hear what you're saying.
So what do we think is the minimum that we wanna have in the policy?
Well, I think, again, going back to like what Erin was alluding to earlier, which is like, what is this all about? Okay? Dignity for students, obviously, and a process that is respectful of, the process and student dignity. I think, again, having some language that does sort of provide some support for like the realities we face with having to be fiscally responsible. You know what I mean? As part of what it is that we have to do. So that piece. I just, I feel like you said something else and I can't remember it. I feel like you said one of that, but I can't remember. But I think we're kind of getting into that. It's just hard when you start getting into that to not really drift into procedure land, you know? Because in reality, like when we're trying to say to kids, like, all right, there is a process we have with regard to, you know, if meal balances reach a certain level, then we'll have to do something different. You know, there's something that has to be articulated in there that starts to get more into procedure. But it also kind of fits with what the policy's all about, or at least part of what it's about. This number 4 language feels like it came from somewhere. Do you recognize that anywhere?
No, I don't, and it's much better than, like I said, your original language.
And
So
that's
I mean,
new, right? That's
yeah,
not-
yeah. That's the sun butter paragraph.
Yeah, so that's new.
$5 is Jamestown, in like, not in a bad way, but like,
It could be. It feels like it came from somewhere, because there's,
Yep.
It feels more policy though than,
Mm.
like, I mean, it's procedure, but it's also policy in terms of no student shall be denied access to a reimbursable
Mhm.
meal.
that has to be
Like,
in there.
that has to be in there.
Yep.
Um,
I keep going back to like the dignity and respect thing though, and what you said about like they get through the line and then they find out they don't have money. Like no matter how nicely you say that to a middle
Yeah,
schooler,
it's
they are not
fine.
gonna feel
Yeah.
great about that moment. And then my kid's gonna come home and be like, "Mom, you embarrassed," like, you know, like it's gonna be, like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make you feel respected in that moment, even if the nice
Yep.
person at the thing is trying to do it as discreetly or quietly as possible. And so I keep trying to figure out, like, how you don't have that happen, but it would be, like, they don't, I don't know. Dignity and respect is very broad in that,
I mean, what, I know some districts have tried, and I don't know to how much success, is that they'll just put it through even if you don't, even if a student doesn't have it on the card, and then there's, like, that's the process. If you show up with a plate full of whatever it is, whether you have it on your card or not, generally speaking, it goes through, and then if it's flagged, it would go to the principal, hey,
Mhm.
principal, you need to call home and see.
yep,
Again, you know, that's probably successful in about 70 or 80% of the cases, and then you have, you know, situations that, I don't wanna say take advantage of that, but it just keeps happening. I mean, there's no easy answer, there's not, to your point, if you show up and someone says you don't have any money, you have to put that back. There's that,
part of me wonders
There's
if
no-
there
there's no
needs to
easy
be
way to-
additional eyes on this. Like, I'm thinking Trish Cawley could lend some pretty good help to
Oh,
this. You know what I mean? Like, she's
she didn't
in
see
the-
this,
Not that I'm aware of.
or Bridget,
Bridget worked on this with Ken, to the best of my knowledge.
some of this sounds like Trish, like, I don't,
Okay.
like, it sounds like things that she said before, so I would be surprised if she wasn't called in on it, but also, like, I think ultimately, like, everything in here is fine,
Mhm.
but I think we have to decide what do we want in the actual policy. So it sounds like we definitely at minimum want the not denied access to, like, reimbursable breakfast and lunch, right? Like they need to have some sort of food no matter what.
Mhm.
But I think even that paragraph can be narrowed down.
Which one?
Number 4, right? Like if we're talking about policy versus
Mhm.
procedure, like I think you can just say,
Students will have access to reimbursable meals, unpaid meals. Charges will not result in them being denied,
right,
and like,
and the rest of it, like.
the meals have to meet standards.
Yeah. Laura, did you have something?
OBE.
Okay. I think, like, and like to Mia's point, right, like I think a procedure, like that's on the nutrition part of the website, like that kind of goes into more depth, like maybe with things that we call out of this would be helpful to families, I think, to know kind of maybe a little bit more of the ins and outs.
Something that really seems like procedure has to do with like charges left on the account for seniors, and I feel like that's the kind of thing that would come up to the school committee. That like a decision
Yeah.
needs to be made, like what that policy would be so that it's fair and communicated.
I'm gonna guess we're ready to get off this bad bit.
Is that, I don't know how that works from like the,
No clue.
like how, like if kids don't turn in their books.
6 figures in Warwick,
Oh, okay.
has been for years.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure.
Like for like books and things like that. that
Yeah,
are
I
not
mean, RIDE,
paid
there's RIDE guidance and there's RIDE decisions for books and similar that you can't withhold a diploma or grades or anything else like that for some kind of a financial thing. Now, how you do, do you send a collection letter?
Oh my god.
Do you, I mean, that's, I don't, different districts deal
It's
with
not,
that
I've had to
differently.
deal with it, it's not fun,
Yeah,
it's not fun, it's difficult.
yep.
So I feel like this needs to go back to Ken and have him take unless we wanna take the X-Acto knife to it and chop things out.
Maybe I'll check something out.
Like,
I don't, like it can go back to Ken and we can say just put in policy stuff, but like,
So can we say this, like, I think, can we agree that maybe those first 3 things, while valuable, are probably more procedural than policy and maybe belong elsewhere? Or do we wanna just keep them even though they speak more procedurally?
no, I thought we said that we were gonna swap out that philosophy for the paragraph
No,
that.
he's saying
Sorry,
the
I'm saying the
guidelines.
first 3 under guidelines,
Oh, sorry,
sorry.
the first 3 on their
Yep.
guidelines.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree.
Um, do we wanna like send this to the nutrition department
Mhm.
and Ken, like so that they can, like
it's
nutrition
that's
could
Ken's
say-
responsibility
That's
to
Ken's
decide who
responsibility.
he wants
Yeah.
to
Got it.
show it to.
But
Like
we
not in
can-
a
but
bad
we
way,
can
but like
provide
we,
feedback, at
Rob
least
could
to
do
say-
it, but like the
yeah.
committee wouldn't, like,
That's not our
yeah,
job, okay.
yeah.
Got it.
But that's
They were-
something that we could maybe provide feedback from the committee saying that perhaps those,
I think the feedback from the committee is policy, not procedure.
got it.
And when I think of policy, I think of if it's broken, like what do they need to know that might be appealable to a school committee level? Like, like what do we want that has to be consistent, right? Like what would we be, like, I can't believe that employee at X school did because Y is not doing that. Like I think so anytime, I think for me, policy is consistency and then like what kind of what the expectations are. More of the what, not the how.
So like 4 is policy, students with a negative meal account balance of 5 or more meals will continue to have access to a designated reimbursable breakfast and lunch.
Mm-hmm.
That's policy.
Mm-hmm. I also think like the swiftness of the communication piece is policy, because that's basically saying like our staff needs to let families know quickly when their kid's balance is overdue, because if not, your kid's gonna be racking up like a huge amount without you being aware of it. Like I could see how that would be policy, because if the admins aren't giving to you for a month and then you get this huge bill, like that's not fair for families.
Does it actually
that piece is important.
say in here anywhere that we're notifying the parents?
Yes.
Does it,
It was in, it was one of the parts I liked. It was up at the,
Number 3.
yeah, an automated semi-weekly
Okay.
call. Like, but I think the policy language is, like, once you get to this point, like, we must notify. Like, it it has to be, basically, like, the policy is that, like, we need to notify them as soon as we know that there's a negative balance of X threshold.
I mean, the way this is written, you notify at 5, but then 5 is also the cutoff. It's almost like you should notify at like 3.
Mhm.
So parent has to get a little advance notice that, hey, you've got a few more.
And I don't know how it works at the middle school or the high school, but at the elementary school, I do feel like they pretty quickly notify you, because when we switched from My Cafe to school whatever we use now, or when we
My
switched,
school bus.
I didn't have the notification sent up, so like my kid went into negative because I was used to getting like a, hey, you've got $10 left in your account, put more money on. And I would say that like procedurally, I think that they are at least doing a very good job of quickly notifying parents and guardians.
Of any owed balance.
Yeah, at the elementary though,
Yeah.
it could be
$5.
wildly different,
I think it's like $5, I get an automated email because I forget.
yeah.
So I think we can,
But if a new a new person comes in, like we want them to follow that same standard of like notifying.
we can check with Trish on that.
It alerts me when my kid's account runs low.
You have that set up though,
Maybe.
yeah,
Oh, do I?
you can set it up, like what you want the threshold to be.
Yeah, it emails me like a crazy Italian aunt when
No, and I think that's where like we're
Children are starting.
we're not trying to fix 100%. Like this isn't one of those policies that's trying to fix like massive errors. It's just making sure that we're being consistent in like what we're doing.
Okay, so the feedback we want on this one is we want to take this back. We want to reduce or eliminate the procedural language. We want to focus on policy language, and by that we mean what is kind of like crucial to the purpose and philosophy of the policy. We want to make sure we include the communication piece, balanced communication, and we want to move the procedural language to kind of a separate space that is accessible to the public.
Yes. We could put in the policy that it is required that on the food services page, XYZ is clearly like available for families. Like that's policy language. Like you must have something like school cafe. You must have this information accessible, easily accessible and sent to them twice a year. Like that sort of stuff is, policy E. You must
Do
send
we want
out
to say something to the effect
the
of
free and reduced lunch form in August, or
Food
if a
service.
student gets continuously in negative,
food service page must include procedures that specify
like how to
you
pay
said
for
free,
meals,
meal payment process.
information about, like what will happen with negative balance.
Negative balance.
And, ways to, like, apply for,
Free reduced lunch.
yeah.
Free reduced lunch application or process. And then maybe something about communication protocols.
Yeah, I mean, that could be there. I think the biggest thing for the policy is like, once you hit this threshold, like parents and guardians must be notified. Like I think that's the part of it, so that you can't end up with a family that has $300 worth of debt and didn't
Right.
know. Like
What's-
that I think is part of probably why this existed. That probably was happening.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes it's hard to get
Yeah.
messages out that quickly.
Yeah, this is 2018, we said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
that was,
is
that
like-
was right around the
That was
time.
right-
things
right in the
really,
wheelhouse, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do we wanna say then that the communication that you were just referencing, we're saying is after three, like upon three, meals? Is that what we said, that it would be notified?
I threw that out there. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, an advance notice is better than, oh, by the way, you're at 5. Here's a robocall, and the next day,
I'm just anecdotally, and our 3 is, I think, too soon. Like, I go over 3 all the time, unintentionally, even though I get the reminder, I have it set up, but like, sit down, re-log in, remember your password, do all that, like 3 seems.
I think the reason that, and I totally agree with you, I think the reason for that though is to try to avoid the student standing at the line with the food that they wanted to
Right.
buy and can't buy it. Like that's, I think trying to figure out what that looks
Well,
like.
But both can adjust for,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just saying.
you're not wrong, but
Mm.
3 seems like a lot of communication going back and forth, especially if it's not automatic. If it's someone at the school having to reach out to everybody who goes over 3 meals, that's a lot. is
I
all
think
I'm
they
saying.
set that up though.
it's
I think
automatic.
it's
Yeah, it's automatic.
Okay.
This says
Yeah.
semi-weekly. What is semi,
Where are we looking at?
number 3 is an automatic semi-weekly.
Phone calls, such as communicators, all, yeah, semi-weekly is odd.
Definition.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Like,
doing.
I don't-
That's what
I
I'm
don't
doing
know.
right now, Steph.
Yeah,
Occurring, happening
Twice a week.
twice a week.
Okay,
Semi-weekly, learn something new every day.
Yeah, I know that.
so twice a week, in theory, somebody's getting a call, and I'm having a vague recollection of getting a call.
yeah,
But twice a week for any owed balance.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I would almost wanna say, like, semi-weekly seems weird to me. I would almost
Exactly.
just say an automated phone call, text communicates all load balances, I would also wanna leave it there.
June 11, June 15.
But that
June
would
16,
actually, would
June
that
17,
actually take care
June
of the
18.
3 instead of 5?
That's a
Though, because
lot.
this is communicating every time you owe a balance, then presumably after 1,
Yeah, let's look
you
at
have a
it.
balance, you'd get a
Correct.
notice.
Bing, bing, bing,
Bing,
bing,
bing,
bing,
Maybe
because they're not,
maybe that's the.
like,
Oh,
it's
I-
accounts aren't
that's
the
why
same.
I'm
It's even
having
more.
a
If
flashback
you do a
to
breakfast
the-
and a lunch,
Yeah.
then
I'm just
Or
gonna
your
highlight
grades
this
are
and
not
say, like,
attached.
Till
I'm
11
gonna say,
a.m.
like, Trish, please clarify this.
Okay.
The current threshold amount is $10. That's, I think, I don't think that's personal to me, although it might be actually.
But the phone call is when you go over,
You don't
right?
get phone calls anymore.
You don't,
Not
you text.
Depends on
Maybe
how
at some
much.
point you
I got a
want to
phone
get
call this year. so
I think I got one phone call actually, now that I,
It's
yeah.
automatic though. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a robocall.
Yeah.
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 No, that's what I'm flashing back. to
Very
this.
rarely though,
Yeah.
like probably less than eight.
You have to
Okay.
really try to ignore it.
first one I got, I was horrified and thought the district must all know that I was a deadbeat. It's like, oh my God.
Okay, so anything else we want Rob to know before he sends this back to Ken?
You're not asking me. Okay.
This is the message you get. NK provided your child with whatever because they came with no funds to pay for it. We will never turn away a hungry child. However, since no tax dollars are used to fund the meal program, it is your financial responsibility to pay for the food that your child consumes.
We might wanna work on that a little bit.
Just saying, that's what you get.
That, yeah, we could probably do a little bit better with that one.
I mean, this is just me, I'm just curious on this number 6, the process they're outlining in this, I'm just curious to see like how this actually is taking form in reality. It seems, and again, there's no easy way to do this, like Andrew was alluding to that earlier, like it's a very tricky situation to deal with, but I'm just curious to see how that's going and how that's actually taking shape.
I highlighted in yellow anything that I feel is, that I think is procedure, not
Mhm.
policy, and I think that whole thing is procedure.
Yeah,
I think what Rob's saying is.
I'm just wondering how
curious
it's
that
actually going.
procedure actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like how they're actually doing
Yeah.
it, yeah,
okay, so yellow is procedure,
yeah, in my mind.
okay. I'm just gonna put that at the bottom,
I think I did I? I did not,
I'll do it, okay.
okay.
I thought number 8 was interesting too from a policy standpoint. Cause that is policy, like we're basically
Mhm.
saying, even though you don't qualify for whatever, we're gonna make you not pay for food, but that was interesting.
Does that have to do if parents are not filling out the forms? Cause like a kid who's underage can't fill out the forms for a free or reduced lunch and you may have a parent, I don't know if absenteeism is the right word, a parent you can't contact, but the kid's coming
Oh
to
no,
school.
the concept's
and
valid,
acting,
right?
so.
The principal emails the
Yeah.
child nutrition person is like, yo, this kid needs food,
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
can't get the family to fill out anything, like blah, 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 whatever. But what I thought was interesting is that meals will continue to be charged to the student's account for auditing purposes. So that's just like building up on their account, which I thought was interesting. Cool,
I
okay.
think that's just I think it's just a, yeah.
Well, it is, but then if you get to graduation and you have a negative balance,
But we aren't gonna.
But that's why it says written requests that will be kept on file.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
if there's something there that's in writing, it's documented, and that won't happen.
Yeah, I feel like that
There's no other
belongs
way to
in that, like, discharge, like, I feel like this ends up in the discharge debt number at the end of the year. That would be my guess.
Mhm. Well, and I think for a policy standpoint, that matters too, so like maybe we need to add some language of saying that like, and maybe this is somewhere else, but like that annually the school committee is provided with that number. You know, like being aware of like what that number is and how many students or, you know, some sort of required reporting of, about bad debt.
We
For lack of a better
we
word.
do get the bad debt, but it's like one lump number
Right, yeah.
versus like
Some
didn't pay
yeah.
versus we said you couldn't pay, right? Those are two
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
pieces
basically,
of it.
there's this
Yeah.
much in arrears in that account.
Yeah,
Okay, so, to be continued.
okay. Okay,
Abby, anything, sorry, I know we wanna move in, but I wanna make sure, anything from your perspective as a student on like
So,
policy wise, what might be important?
well, I'm just wondering, like, if students are buying like the school lunch, but they don't have money in their account, would they still get the school lunch, or would they be given something different?
Can you define school lunch?
Like-
What does that mean to you?
Like the lighthouse lunch, like what they're serving, not like you can buy like chips, or they have like pre-packed lunches, but then they have like the meal like the day or whatever. So would they be given like the main meal that they're serving, or would it be like the sun butter sandwich?
So
I
I think
read
the way,
this as the main meal.
the way
Yeah.
the way this is written, what they should, in theory, they should be getting that, the lighthouse, or where they shouldn't be able to, if you're in arrears, you shouldn't be able to get, I want the cheeseburger and the fries and the chips, you should get whatever the meal is, but I think the way this is written is that first time you show up with this is just my take, with the cheeseburger, fries and chips, they're going to let you go through, cause they don't wanna pull you aside and embarrass you, but then there's gonna be some mechanism to go to the principal, and then a mechanism to go home and say, hey, listen, you're in arrears, going forward, we're not gonna be able to do that, and then I think the real rub becomes what happens on day two,
Right.
and, you know.
Is this, as this is written, you think that,
Well, 'cause
yeah?
I think that's what
it's
it's trying to
already
get at.
Yeah.
I think it's saying like,
Yeah.
it's almost like saying like, we're not
Does
gonna
it
pull you
specifically
aside
say
now.
though that, sorry, and I've read this like,
Okay.
does it specifically say that they are not gonna pull them aside in the moment?
Well,
It says
no,
here,
'Cause
it's,
I didn't read
no,
it
it
like
doesn't
that.
say that, cause it says here, it says.
What you
under
said
num-
sounds lovely,
Under number
but
six,
I
it
don't
says,
know, I didn't read that.
middle school and high school students do not pre-order meals, therefore a child nutrition staff member will notify the student at the point of sale
and I think
upon
that's supposed to
entry
be
into the
struck,
serving
because
area.
Kenny orders upon,
Correct.
upon entry of the service area, I think what he's trying to do there is say you'll be notified upon entry of the service area, so you're not notified as you're sitting there with a tray full of food.
Yes, it would be, hey,
But is
Ben,
it
you
the
can't get
next
the burger,
day?
you
It
have to
could-
get the
yeah,
lighthouse
well-
So we need
meal.
some clarity on that.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's why my point
Yeah.
was like, I'm curious as to how this is actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
if you
know?
look at the last sentence in that, that's what I'm referring to. If the student ignores staff members' communications, building administration will be notified after lunch, and the student's meal will be charged the price of the meal chosen on their account. To me, what that means is, we're not going to call you out as you're standing at the register. We are going to,
And you're gonna
that's a
bill
$10
for it.
meal.
Mhm.
We're gonna let the administration know you didn't have any money and you just charged $10, and then they're gonna track that down. That's the way I read that last sentence.
So I do think there's some policy stuff in there, like, that's a little procedurally, but I think like, what is important for the policy is like, when students are
Yeah.
approached
Mhm.
regarding.
Right.
I think that's what it's
negative
all about, right?
balances.
Because
Yeah.
it's otherwise it's.
There has to be maybe some language, a framework of language to talk about the way students are approached, or
Yeah,
not
Or
approached,
some policy language
yeah.
about what our policy expectations are for that, so.
I've seen districts that say we're not going to call out a student. You know, whatever the situation is, we'll deal with it with the parents or the guardians, you know what I mean, after school, on the side, whatever it is, there's not a situation. in which we're going to say, Mr. Hennius, step over here.
Personally, I would prefer it that way.
Yeah,
You
oh,
know,
100%.
Yeah, like I would not even wanna venture into the whole having.
Well, it puts the employee in an awful situation.
It
too. I
does,
mean,
it puts,
everybody's
it's
in a
bad for
bad
everybody,
situation.
yeah.
Well, now I'll just put out my anecdotal thing, we don't have to discuss it, just food for thought, is not related to the money piece, but like I have a daughter with hyperphagia and a lot of metabolic disorders related to her rare genetic disorder. It's super fun, and one of her issues is food-seeking behavior that she cannot have because of her high cholesterol and other risk factors. So Fishing Cove, I'm not sure exactly how they do it, but have done a beautiful job of addressing exactly this. It's not that they have to turn her away because of the money issue, it's because of the health issue. So however they're doing it, number one, kudos Fishing Cove, because they are causing no damage and they have helped. And number two, as a parent, I do desperately need them to be able and not be handcuffed from addressing that. Because if she was allowed to go run rampant, we would have big, serious health problems.
Yeah, and that's
So just
different, yeah.
It is, but-
different,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
second,
Along-
third order effects.
Along those same lines, I have also gotten parent complaints that are like, what do you mean my balance is up to $50? Aren't you people supposed to tell them, no, they can't have this? Well, and now you're, you know what I mean? Why
And
are
that's
you
where
letting
I
my
think-
child get 13 bags of Doritos when they don't have a?
I'm just saying,
I-
the words
I-
never and always scare me.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do turn you away if you don't have money in your account and you're just buying like snacks.
The a la
Yeah.
carte stuff.
Like they won't let
Yeah.
you buy Doritos.
Yeah.
if you don't have any money.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know about like the actual school lunch.
I think what this policy
trying to
is
say
saying is you're not gonna be the kid who's sitting there with the sun butter sandwich and everybody's be like, oh, Abby. Because we don't wanna do that. We don't wanna have anybody like shamed for not having the money to buy lunch. So the intent of the policy, as I read it, is, you know, if you can't afford to buy the lunch or whatever, and we know that we're gonna give you whatever anybody else is getting for lunch that day. And that way, like, there's no, right, like that's the intent, right?
Exactly.
Right, is that what you were questioning,
Right.
Abby?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but if you don't, you can't get Doritos today, like, I'm sorry. Like,
Right.
so that is the distinction there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do next?
I lost my agenda because I have 19,000 tabs open. Okay. So, Rob, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to do the student athletics or the summer school?
Well, let's go athletics.
Okay.
Athletics for 6 hours.
Well, because summer school wouldn't be,
Yeah.
it's for next year, right?
Summer school started today.
Okay.
Not the usual summer school weather day, but.
No, it was not. Okay, so it is under athletics policy. It is the red line, JJI student athletics. So
And are we
this,
are we looking at this one because it was old, or are we looking at this one because somebody asked us to, or a little bit of both?
Ken asked us to add this to the agenda.
It's also from 2012, so.
It's also from
here we are.
2012, so I believe that there are multiple
Okay.
reasons for it. So I have not double checked exactly what Ken did, but it looks like he took the existing policy and redlined it, is what it looks like. So it looks like he changed the purpose, and elaborated on it. I appreciate that he is spelling out encouraging participation by different groups of students, but Andrew, can you just check how he has specifically named the groups?
Where are you,
Because he's
Jen?
picked a few, but not all.
The district will foster inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's not a criticism, I'm just
What
trying to
page
think
are
of
you
a
on?
better.
Yeah, it's the page 1, it's the second paragraph in red. I feel like there must be a clause somewhere that,
What you're probably thinking of is 10-9.
Rob, we have, school insurance for athletes?
Yes.
I know we went back and forth about football
Mhm.
insurance, we took that out, but we have regular insurance?
Mhm.
Okay. So under 7, Rob, where it says
Mhm.
oversight compensation for the intramural programs should be set at the program level only. Can you tell me what that means?
What I'm reading that to mean is that, like, if we have intramural programs, which we don't really have anymore, because middle school, I think, I mean, middle school sports are where most of the athletics at middle school happen. If it's not a middle school sports, probably like a club. But oversight compensation for the intramurals will be set at the program level only, which I'm guessing would be that, like, there would be, for an advisor to an intramural program, that it would be, compensation would be set. I don't understand the program level only, I'll be honest with you. I don't, that doesn't jive with me. 'Cause to me, if you're advising a club, then club advisors are compensated according to, the district.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can
So that's-
talk about that.
yeah. But I'm not sure that's,
It just didn't make
Yeah.
sense.
In the old policy, it was basically saying like intramural programs at the middle school level, like the principal has to fund them, basically. Like it's part of like, but like because things have changed with like middle school score, like I feel like that's old school 2012 energy.
So on number 8, it says district participation in interscholastic athletics shall be subject to approval by the school committee. The school committee shall improve membership or rules for student participation in any leagues, association, conferences other than the Rhode Island Interscholastic League. And then so Sean commented and said, does this sentence solve the issue of not including sailing, as sailing is not considered a sport?
Yes, if approved.
Right, so I guess my question is,
So they
How-
want it to be like insured under the umbrella of whatever, funded, it needs to come to the school committee if it's not an RIIL sport, is how I'm reading that.
I guess where, like if you look on our athletics website and everything, sailing is there. So
Mhm.
like how do we define the difference between a athletic program and a club program?
So that's where this would come into play.
Okay.
Because in reality, the answer to that question is, an athletic program is under the governor's, the leadership of the interscholastic league.
Okay,
And a club program would be under something else.
okay. So I wonder if we need to spell that out
Mhm.
somewhere?
Well-
Because like gymnastics, what is gymnastics?
Gymnastics is in RIL.
Okay.
Yep.
What other sports do we have that are?
Gymnastics is tricky because we collaborate with other towns, right? So that one,
But that's different, because that's a co-op. That's,
yeah,
like, co-ops are still part of the interscholastic.
yeah, but co-op, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They still would have to follow our policies though. So like say NK had a different policy than,
Right, but they're part of the
Coventry.
interscholastic
There are
league, so
part
they
of
don't
it, that's where
require
I'm,
any.
like,
Yeah.
what other sports do we have?
Outside of the
that
interscholastic.
That are
are
outside of the
not-
interscholastic
yeah.
league, the only one to my knowledge is sailing.
That's it, that's the
Yeah.
only one.
Is-
hockey a club?
What's that?
Is hockey?
No, hockey's
what
interscholastic.
about
Yep.
unified,
Interscholastic,
fair?
Okay, so sailing is the only outlier.
only one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So how would that be treated?
Well, what we're saying here is that it would have to
Be
be
approved.
approved by the school committee, that we
I'm
would.
sure it is. Sure
Yeah.
it is. Right.
And so there is like a group that we operate under with the sailing
Yeah.
club. You know what I mean? They're like New England Sailing Association or something like that, so
Maybe we should spell
So
that
do
out
we have
then.
to approve that?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
According to this, we would,
according
yeah.
to this, we would.
I see your brain. Yes, so A, should figure out when the school committee approved that, and if not, then it needs to be
Yeah.
approved. And B, if there is an association that specific sport is falling under, that is meeting guidelines, et cetera, we should be referencing that in this policy.
Yes.
So let's
We're
figure
gonna
out what
have-
that
we're
is.
gonna have it.
Why would we have to reference that one sport though?
Because
Wouldn't
it's
this?
the only one.
No, for now it is, but what if there's another
Yeah.
one hypothetically? Will we have to then revise the
I think
policy?
if North Kingstown's aligning with a national or New England association that is
Mhm.
dictating rules for our athletes and we know about it, like, we should reference it, just like we're referencing the interscholastic league. Like, I think that you wouldn't just,
Okay,
like, it's not like we just have club sailing and we're just sailing out in the bay and we're competing against our own sailboats, like,
Right.
we're in something.
100%.
So I think you would
I'm
reference
just, I'm just
that,
saying,
yeah.
and I agree with you.
Yeah, and if there's more, I think you would add those as well.
Yeah.
If it's being governed by a separate nonprofit body.
So, okay. I mean, I just think that the suggested language here does kind of cover us as far as we're competing in this non-interscholastic league sanctioned sport. We're doing it against other schools under a different governing body that does need to meet with school committee approval, even though we're not specifying sailing and the sailing group that's
NESA, if you're curious.
Nessa, thank you. We still would be needing school committee approval in order to have compliance with that.
I agree with you, Rob. I just would wanna see something spelled out in here that says, like, defines when we have to approve.
Like how often?
When we have to approve it. Do we have to approve it annually? Like, do we have to, like, just something that says, kind of defines what the
Yeah.
approval process looks like.
What do we think about that? Like, I mean, for me, I
I'm
can just.
still processing the fact that sailing isn't a sport, so like.
No, it is a sport, we're not saying it's not a sport.
I know, I mean, like.
It just doesn't exist
I
under
was
the
today
interscholastic.
years old when I learned that it wasn't part of the interscholastic league, which is I think what Jen is saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
But interesting news.
yeah, cause I mean, I guess my thought is, like, is that something that has to be, like, do we approve it? Was it approved sometime between 2012 and now?
Alright, let's not get stuck in the
Or
weeds.
like,
So we're gonna find out
Okay.
about that, and then depending on what we find out, Andrew will advise us on what language
Yeah.
we should put in for that.
yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason I say that is because hypothetically, there could be other sports
No, I
that
agree
fall
with
under
you,
this, you
yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
that
Like,
covers it, yeah.
Fencing, or, I'm making
even
things
flag
up. I-
football, that's a popular sport, like,
Yeah.
that's, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
think
that's,
where I would land legally is we want to be as clear as possible because we want our insurance to cover it. We want our,
Yeah.
those are the questions that are starting to pop into my head for those for the non-institutional.
Yeah, and I mean, the way that's written now is they've gotta come to the school committee,
Yeah,
there's just
so
no question, right?
Let's follow up on that, and then policy-wise, it sounds like we're definitely going to leave it in. We just have to decide how specific we want to be.
mhm.
And right now, it sounds like there's only one, and I would also be curious about what being part of the NEE I don't know,
MESS.
whatever the sailing one is.
How
means,
ironic
yeah.
that sailing is the first thing that pops up on our athletic website. Okay.
Other questions from the committee on this one? Or things that we think should be in here? I feel like there should possibly be some references to other policies in this one,
Such as?
like the, what's the Title IX one?
Title IX or transgender?
Nope, not that one. I was thinking like about the BCIs for coaches and all of that sort of stuff.
Does that go somewhere else?
It is somewhere else, without a doubt. I think it's in the non-discrimination one or the state, something with, it's in one of the other ones for sure, but I feel like this should at least reference that. Cause it's talking about coaches and volunteers following policies, but it doesn't reference those policies on page.
I just saw it too.
It was, cause I added the word volunteers, it's number 3 on page.
All
Two.
parties having are required as well as all school. Okay,
Abide by
do
school
we
committee policies and then.
want to reference, cause I think our, well, we can't talk about it, but I think our policy that relates to coaching in general covers all the, like, do we wanna say and follow the policies as outlined in our coaching policy, cause I think that.
Yeah, I would just reference, if, like, I think they are,
I mean, you could reference that, you could reference the Title IX policy. I mean, this is more geared towards adults, this particular sentence, but you could reference the
yeah, I just
discipline
think in
policy if
general,
it's
this
regarding
policy has some friends and that
There's
we
no
should
question.
connect them.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
where,
it's
where,
possible.
Page 2, policy conditions, number 3.
so we wanna okay, so we wanna reference,
Doesn't even, it could just be like, we don't have to write what's in it, just like literally
Yeah, I'll just add that, I'll just add the policy,
this one and this
yeah.
one. JICC,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know, whatever they are.
oh, we wanna, do we, okay, not to, if we're gonna do that, I think it's probably important that we're including like all relevant policies.
I just added including but not limited to.
There you go,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
alright, I just
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
make sure we
Yeah,
got that,
we-
alright,
Cause I
cause
think
you
there's a
know,
number that are gonna
yeah.
touch on this tangentially.
Oh,
but I mean-
100%,
Yeah.
but I think at least
Yeah,
there's a couple
The
of
main
big ones.
players, yeah.
A couple, 2 or 3 friends that definitely should be called out. There are definitely other ones to Rob's point that,
Mhm.
and I think that sentence would cover that.
GBEBB, is that, we want that?
Yeah, yeah.
We, so, and I'm sure this is somewhere else, but like, this, it doesn't say anything about like eligibility.
Where are you?
I think because it says it's governed by the RI, rules of, it does say somewhere in there, rules of eligibility fall under RIL.
Okay.
Sorry, what number are we on?
Erin was saying there was nothing in here about eligibility, but I saw something
Oh.
that says that rules of eligibility are determined by RIL.
That's
I can't
four, I
remember
And
think.
where.
local school
4, yeah.
policy.
Yeah,
But what does and local school policy mean?
See, I would say,
The eligibility of students to participate is determined in accordance with the RIL regulation and local school.
I mean, you
Local
would-
school policy has to do with,
you may have a school policy that's more stringent
we have
than
one
correct.
that is more
scholastically.
specific than
Correct.
the RIL policy.
yeah, so RIL, when it comes, we're talking about academic eligibility?
Or disciplinary, right? Do they
But,
take care
like,
of disciplinary?
We should reference, like, as stated in blah, blah, blah.
You want the named policy?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think, I always think about, like, if I was a parent
I
trying
don't
to.
think there is policy for that. I think
There-
it's just school level.
Like the
As far
handbook.
as the handbook, it's athletic.
No, we actually,
I think it is somewhere.
modified one of our policies, when RIL changed their regulations on gender eligibility, we updated our policy to specify.
To include academics?
No, I'm talking about gender, participation based on gender identity.
Okay.
We specifically named, in our policy when RIL backed out on theirs.
Okay, so,
To protect students.
that-
to
so, we're-
protect
okay,
students,
so we're not
yeah.
talking about the academic eligibility,
No,
okay.
but it falls under, this doesn't say, I'm sorry, this does not say academic eligibility, this just says eligibility.
Got it, yep,
So-
sorry, that was where my
We
mind
said
went.
Yeah.
general
All right.
eligibility, yeah.
All right.
But, you know, like, anytime we write or local school policy, in a policy, you like, I feel like you have to say which one, like when you're trying to interpret it as like a parent, like you need to be able to
Right.
understand, well, what local school policy? Like, I don't need to go through all 47 of them, and that's generous, there's probably more than that.
But speaking of that, would our chemical health policy
Mhm,
fall under this as well?
mhm.
Okay,
I would imagine that is also in RIIL's rules.
It isn't,
it's, yeah.
It's not?
not the chemical health,
Oh,
no,
no kidding.
no.
Oh, fun.
They don't have a policy.
They have a policy on academics, that's, as far as eligibility is concerned, that's,
Really?
it's dumb, yeah,
Oh,
nothing-
interesting. Other states
nothing-
do.
yeah, not,
That's
not,
disappointing. No, it is.
Well, part
Yeah.
of it's like
It would help.
letting districts,
I know that they've
Decide.
advocated for it,
Yeah.
but I don't think they've gotten into the weeds of actually mandating at the state level.
Yeah.
Because enforcement always falls to the schools anyway,
Right.
Mm.
so. I know they've advocated for it, I know they've
Yeah.
provided, they provide a lot of like, education around it and things like
Right.
that.
what is their rule book called?
The lead rule book,
I haven't been able to.
I can't find it on their website, that's
Like
what I was
the
asking.
RI.
it's gonna be the,
You, I Googled.
bylaws or something,
I believe it's their bylaws.
yeah.
Let me find out.
First one to find it wins.
It's RIL Rules and Regulations, Article 1 through 4.
There you go. That's those.
Yeah, interscholastic rules and regulations.
Sub-varsity sports? No. It's not on their form and documents. Where is it on the website?
If you go to, just
Oh,
on
rules
the,
and regulations?
yeah,
This?
yes.
Alright. That's the first time we talk about that.
Rob, did you see Erin's question about the curriculum under policy conditions number 2? The athletic program is an integral part of the high school curriculum, should not be.
I wouldn't use
removed.
curriculum, I personally, I just think curriculum is, when I think of curriculum, I think of something that's like guaranteed academic experience for kids. That, to me, athletics and curriculum don't jive.
So you think that whole thing should come out?
Let me go back and look, so where does it say? It says,
Policy conditions number 2.
It's on page 2.
policy conditions,
I actually was just commenting on it because it doesn't say middle school.
No,
The
that's what I was gonna,
athletic
I was
Yeah, that
about
should
to
say
say
middle
that,
school,
and
too.
then he was like,
But then
ooh,
the
that
word
represents
curriculum
the
is
part of the high
stupid.
school curriculum that comes under the
I
authority.
hear what it's saying, but like the word curriculum's probably not it.
Yeah, I had edited this before, I don't know what happened to it.
Alright, we'll have fun.
Something got mixed up. The athletic program is an integral part of the high school curriculum and comes under the authority of principal and school. Yeah, see, my issue with this is like curriculum makes reference to academic curriculum, and academic curriculum is something that is guaranteed and viable for every student. Not every student is gonna participate in athletics, which is okay. I would just use a different word than curriculum. I would probably say something like, I don't know, I could,
High school experience or
yeah,
high school.
But that whole thing wouldn't make sense then, because then it's
Little
saying it comes under the authority of the principal the same degree as do all other phases of the curriculum.
right, it doesn't, yeah. Can I,
Yeah, that's all you.
let me work on this one. Was there another document, Jen, that you had?
The
under this?
original policy is in the same folder.
The
Right
original
below it.
one?
Like the,
I'll look
the
for it, yeah.
existing policy. I think that's a direct copy over.
Yeah, it is
I
the
mean, if
athletic, it says the same thing,
Yeah, if it
integral
doesn't
part of the
fit,
high
we
school
can just-
curriculum.
Yeah, but
Take
there
it
was,
out.
there's something, I feel like there was another document, I think, whatever, it is what it is. I feel like there was like another document that was in here originally that is
Yes,
no
there
longer in
was.
it.
I was waiting for Ken and I started one. Are you looking for that? I'll
Do you
move-
mind if you, did
Yeah,
you
I'll
have
move-
that somewhere?
Yeah, I did. I'll move it back in. Hang on.
Thank you.
Robin, thoughts on that one? You didn't transfer.
Let's see. Okay, it's in there now.
Thank you.
What are other thoughts from folks on things
Anybody,
that?
yeah, I was
Crossed
just
it
gonna
right
say,
out now.
anybody else have
What's
thoughts on
that?
So
this?
it looks like you had it crossed right out in that one.
Yeah, I remember editing it. Where is it? Yeah, I just crossed it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had asked him if he wanted me to make the modifications that you made, and he told me that he was doing them, so I guess
Okay,
that did not
that's fine.
happen, so, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I think he might have just missed that. You know, I or unless he wants it, I just don't think it fits.
I don't see any comments from Tober on this. Do we know if he weighed in?
He did, he commented on the one that I,
Okay.
shared with him, which is, if you look
That's
at
fine.
the one that's in there now, that's like, the duplicated one is the one that Jen just added back to
The
me.
red line?
And
No, that's the one we're in.
his comments are in orange highlighted, those are Tober's comments.
Is it mentioned somewhere else that doesn't mention the word the only time it mentions athletic director is way down on page 4? For like when they're talking about budget, like are they only responsible for budget? Like it doesn't reference anything else? Like does that somewhere else, like does that matter? Like I'm just thinking of like as the like chief athletic person in the district. It doesn't really like, I'm thinking about like some of the transportation policies and different things that kind of talk about like the roles and responsibilities of that role within the context of athletics.
Yeah, I mean, that could take up a lot of space, for sure.
No, it's not like, I don't need the job description, but just something that says like, that like, like in the North Kingstown School Department, like high school and middle school athletics, like are like overseen by like
Mm-hmm.
the athletic director, like, you know, just something to give some context to it, cause like the only reference is that way down part when it's talking about budget.
So maybe somewhere under purpose.
Yeah, or even like under like the beginning of the policy. Like it goes like the school committee policy provides middle and high school students with interscholastic athletic competition in a variety of sports. Students shall be allowed to participate in sports. Qualified personnel should be provided for coaching.
What?
Like we recognize a well-organizing, like it doesn't. It also doesn't talk about how a new sport would get approved or a sport would get removed, which seems like a policy thing.
And actually, what is an individual sports activity?
How's it used in context?
Well, the name.
Like if you were like fencing and we didn't have a fencing team.
Well, I don't know, the name of the policy is interscholastic, intramural, and individual sports activities, and as you just read that, it said, where were you reading? Under the policy, students shall be allowed to participate in individual sports on the basis of their physical condition and desire. Qualified personnel should be provided for coaching and supervising individual sports. Like, what is an individual sport?
Where are we right now? I'm really sorry.
The title.
In the title and then under policy statement.
In the the title, yeah. Policy statement is shall be allowed to participate in individual sports.
Oh. It's a competitive athletic activity where a participant performs alone, so fencing.
Golf,
Golf, right,
Golf.
yeah.
But
tennis.
isn't golf a,
Tennis would be, if
I
you're
think it would be
playing
like if
singles, yeah.
I'm trying to think of I don't know if we have an example. Like at my work, like I think
like the kid who did
we have an
his
equestrian, a
project,
student that represents
yeah.
URI.
he wanted to have the MMA like,
Yeah,
the
like it's not a
MMA,
team,
yeah.
but they're representing our school.
You compete as an individual as opposed to competing as part of a team.
Mhm.
The way the swim team, they do swim individually, but everything's getting
That's every
scored
team,
together.
Unless
Yeah.
you're talking about a one-person team.
So like a one person that wants
Track is
to
an
participate in
example.
a sport that's not
So that's
sanctioned
a
by the
team,
school.
that's,
Yeah.
That, I'm trying to, like,
Why do we
why
care?
do we have this in here, and like, I'm trying to, like,
Do we have it?
Well, I think probably the same reason you have intramural, there probably used to be, or maybe the thought was a broader spectrum of available sports activities, maybe?
I'm looking to see if RIIL defines it like that.
Weightlifting? Is that our,
no.
what else is there under the fencing?
I'm just thinking, like, my daughter rows, she's a rower, and like, when, every once in a while, if she goes to like a regatta or something, like, they ask for her high school, so I wonder if that has anything.
Rowing is not an RIII.
No,
No,
it's
no,
not.
it's definitely not, but
I
it.
don't like that water is what I've learned.
And yet we're in the ocean state, so you would figure.
But that's like a team sport too, though, right, don't
It
they?
is,
Yeah.
but they compete individually, because they're all from different,
Yeah.
because it's like a statewide club, so they're all competing from different schools.
Okay.
Even though they're under the team guys of like Rhode Island, they're all,
They're all from
Yeah.
their own little pockets.
exactly.
Do you know that esports is
See,
an approved one?
well, my suggestion, and I'm like between two documents, my suggestion was to take that statement out of there.
Okay,
And my under policy statement, I just said, just keep the first statement. It is the school committee's policy to provide high school students interscholastic athletic competition in a variety of sports. Boom,
okay, I
Leave it there.
agree with you,
yeah,
yeah,
you know? And we could take individual out of the title, right?
yes, that's what started my question on that, and
Right.
then Erin started reading, and I was like, why is that there?
Wha-
Yeah.
Whatever the sport is, whether you compete as a team, whether you compete individually on a team, it's still the same.
RIIL does not reference it in their mission or like, it's not anywhere. So it's not like, I was wondering if it was something that was connected to them, but it doesn't seem to be.
So this would then be just interscholastic and individual and intramural sports?
Point of clarification, do we have intramural sports?
I
I
don't.
I
think we do.
have seen them at the middle schools,
Or what?
but that's like, they do them, they run them as a after-school thing.
Mhm.
Flag football, right? Is that
They,
intramural? Does that go up to, I don't know. how
Oh yeah, they do have
it.
intramurals.
yeah.
Huh.
Those
I read
interscholastically?
the emails. No, it's just like club, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think intramurals when was this last updated? 2012?
Yeah.
I'm not sure middle school sports are really a thing when this was maybe updated, because I think for a time, intramurals were what middle school
Yeah.
sports were. Now that middle school sports have grown, now we may still have some, I'm gonna check to see
We
if
do,
we.
I-
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like intramurals now probably fall more under like the club category
Then
than a sport.
I go back to insurance, if we need, like, I think we should double check on if intramurals are, like, we need to, if a kid got hurt at intramurals, like, what does that mean
But
if it's not an RILO?
But see, I would understand it this way, because if you're participating in the RIL and there's something, then you're under that umbrella. If it's intramural, I would kind of understand it as if it were a club, as if it were something like chess, art club,
yes.
anything like that. That's how I would understand it, or at least interpret it.
So are you saying this should just be for interscholastic sports activities?
Again, I would probably wanna check on the insurance piece that
Okay.
Erin's referencing, but like, from my understanding, like, to me, it's like there's interscholastic sports are something that operate under like a different governing body that we are part of.
But, I'm literally
Mhm.
being semantical here.
Yep.
We are a part of the RIL, right, but we
Mhm.
do have a sport that is different. So is interscholastic meaning inter-school or the interscholastic league? Like, what is the
I'm
purpose
talking
of
about
this policy?
interschool,
Okay,
interschool, so something where we are participating as part of a league
yep,
against other schools.
okay.
Like
versus-
handball, it, for middle school.
There you go, handball is great, that's awesome, I love they have handball, handball's fun. But that's a school activity
Okay,
versus an interscholastic sport,
gotcha.
right? So sailing is a sport, we compete just under a different,
Okay, but it is still interscholastic, just not part of the
Correct.
Rhode Island Interscholastic League?
Yes.
Okay. So then in theory, this could become the interscholastic sport
It should cover both.
and intramurals, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
why, I'm just curious, like, what's your thought on that?
Because it would be the same thing, like, you would still wanna have, like, the stuff that we're saying about coaches would still be there, the equity and fairness of accessing those programs would still be there. Like, we're not saying that, like, those intramural sports or club sports, like, have to go under the RIL rules, but, like, they're still sports.
Agree 100%.
Yeah.
The only thought I have is that, would that then apply to like any after-school activity?
Yes, it should.
Athletic or not, I agree it should, but does it need to be in a policy?
I mean, in theory, we could have a separate club/intramural policy, we probably should, that defines all of those things for,
Cause they're all in the same,
Those.
they're all in the same bucket,
yeah,
presumably anyway.
yeah. That defines exactly those types of things,
The reason it was in here was because middle school sports wasn't
correct?
covered,
Yeah.
but now it's covered,
We
so.
don't already have a clubs policy for like middle school.
We don't.
and high
No.
school. Oh. Like for formation of the
No.
funding for them,
No.
or like.
No.
We
And
don't.
how do the teachers get paid or advisors get paid to?
Such a good question.
It's, so there's certain clubs that have like had a long established,
It's on the list.
existence,
Mhm.
and there are other clubs that
Sure.
usually when
Also
they,
overtime.
if someone wants to start a new club,
Mhm.
usually it's like, okay, to start the club, it's gonna be probably uncompensated until it's been established, and then once it gets to that point, it would be, you'd put in for as a budget item, and then that person would be compensated. It
So
would be
it's
budgeted for.
basically through the administration?
Yeah, so
whatever
basically, if
school.
like, if Andrew wanted to start a club, right, and he came to me and said, Mr. Mazzoni, I'd like to start a club. Okay, I'll be your advisor, get some kids, we're gonna meet, have this club. So we're gonna have this club, and we establish it, and what happens, plays out for a long period of time. It's a club that we have a date that we meet, we have kids at the club,
Good participation.
good participation, it's been established for a year, and then the next year it's saying, okay, I'm gonna go to my principal and ask, hey, this is a club we've established, can we have it in the budget that there's a stipend paid for
Okay.
the advisor? And it would kinda go from there.
Oh, okay, no idea, that's
Yep.
interesting, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So, are we comfortable moving this forward with the few things that we just have to check, which are the, what was that? I had it.
I don't feel like this is forwardable.
No,
Yeah.
okay,
Sorry, girl.
okay,
Move
That's
forwardable.
Yeah.
Move forward.
okay, move forward.
No, I feel like it's still too drafty, like,
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. I mean, if other people feel like it's cool, but I don't.
Okay, so we'll do another draft of this.
Jen, I wanna make a correction to something I said earlier too, about insurance. So I just went back and referenced my previous document, and there is no school insurance according to Dave Tover, for athletics.
Okay, okay. I'm going to go and I'm gonna cross-check your document
Okay.
to this one because
Thank
clearly
you.
that didn't happen. So yeah, so we'll do an updated draft, have Dave and Sean review it again, and then have Ken look at it again, and then we'll bring it back here. Okay,
And again, my apologies for any confusion on that. I was working off the document in the folder.
no, that's
Yeah.
not, no, you're fine. Okay, so we did meals, we don't have to do the anti-harassment, we did student athletics. Trying to think if there's one that we can do in 20 minutes. What do you think?
Do you wanna do summer school?
Sure.
Okay. So, again, part of me, when I was looking at the summer school one, was I was kind of, my brain was going to, like, is this procedure land? Are we venturing into that a little bit? So I think we need to maybe look at it through that lens. Like, for example, I know, like, down through the program framework area, like, what we have there is what we do now for summer school, and while I don't think that we're gonna make any like dramatic changes to it, we always reassess summer school on a yearly basis as far as like how effective are our programs working, how well are they meeting our goals, how convenient are they for families, so on and so forth, you know what I mean? So I just don't know if we wanna put that necessarily in a policy and then have ourselves having to come back here and change it if it moves. Just my thoughts. You know, and I also like did some looking around at like other districts, and I didn't see other districts with really as much of a summer school policy. Like there were some that like spoke generally like about like credit recovery or things like that, like students could recover credits in the summer, but I was looking to see if there was other examples of this, and I didn't really see any. So
This may sound like a stupid question, but what's the difference?
From,
Credit recovery to summer school?
yeah, good question, no, so credit recovery is your traditional summer school at
Like
the
you
high
straight up
school
failed.
level. So
Yeah.
high school, you gotta accrue credits in order to graduate. If you don't earn them during the school year, you can take them in the summer. And so it's a matter of thing, I need 4 years of English to graduate. I didn't pass English this year, so I go to the school in the summer, I accrue the credit. And so credit recovery is a more like tangible summer school that gives you course credit that you didn't earn during the school year.
Mhm.
Summer school at the K-8 level, they don't have credit recovery because it's not set up that way. So tends to be more of like skills gaps
Okay.
and looking at like how we like reduce the summer slide, keep kids current with some of the skills that they had started with during the school year and things of that nature.
So it's all summer school, but the goals are different.
Correct.
Okay.
It's all under that umbrella of summer school. Yeah.
The second one is extended school year.
And then extended school year is another one.
That's
Yes.
another one,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
separate.
So extended school year is a specialized program for students who qualify
Yeah.
based on their
We
special
run
needs.
4 programs in the
Yep.
summer.
Well, that's what I'm wondering,
It's taken me 4 years to figure that out.
do we want to kind of change the name of the policy to reflect that?
Yeah, because it speaks to like philosophically, right? Like the purposes of what we offer,
Right.
right? Because even Summer Squad, which is like uniquely North Kingstown, which is an
Right.
awesome program, has a different structure and purpose.
Right.
You know,
Because summer school brings up immediately, at least to my mind, credit recovery,
Mhm.
right?
that's traditional.
And
purpose.
it, it's not addressing the skills gap, it's not addressing the ESY, like it's not,
Correct. They are very different
right.
in their purpose.
And I know that's not the
Yep.
point of
Summer
this,
learning
but yeah,
program.
summer
Yeah,
learning
exactly.
opportunities, things like that, like just to kind
Summer
of,
learning experiences, summer opportunity programs.
just something
That's
to
what
think
some of the
about,
other-
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not just about,
We can
Credit
look at,
recovery.
absolutely, we can look at like shaping into language, under the philosophy, like this is
We even call it
the
summer learning opportunities.
summer learning opportunities, right? And they can say, summer learning opportunities include the following.
yes.
You know, and sort of keep it more broad to give us a little leeway if things,
You can even
big
do
shift.
it as definitions, like,
Yeah, and you have some here,
well, no,
right?
it's there, but like you could, instead of calling them programs, you could literally say like, you could, the names of the programs are gonna change, is what I'm trying to say, like, but the concepts probably will not, right? Like you,
yeah, I think that's what we really wanna shape up is like, what does summer learning in North Kingstown mean? What are we trying to achieve with different, the different offerings that we have?
I do think one thing, and I don't know if how this lands in policy land, is like consistency with who's invited to the programs and like, cause I know that that's changed just in the 4
Mhm.
years I've been on the school committee, like, and I know we've used like the MTSS things and like some years tier 2 and tier 3 get invited, some years just tier 3 have gotten invited,
Mhm.
you know, so I think like from a policy standpoint, like figuring out we wouldn't have to just define it exactly, but like, how does that decision get made,
Yeah.
right? Like, is that at a school committee approval level, or is that administrative, that they decide who goes or who doesn't go? Is it just budget, or is it bigger than that,
No,
right?
It's, and I would personally, say that it should be an administrative level, because it would be based on, depending on the purpose of the program, okay? And that's why it's important, I think, to define, like, what are the purposes we're trying to serve? The purpose is gonna drive the eligibility and drive the priorities when it comes to eligibility. So when it comes to an academic program, for skills gap remediation, we're gonna look at what data that we could pull that's going to be the most connected line from the skills gap remediation to the students who would get first priority. You know, for a summer squad program, which is, the goals are a little bit different, there would be a different set of criteria that would determine, you know, priority with eligibility. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Similar to the credit recovery, it's the same thing, it's based on students who require credit recovery based on wanting to graduate on time. We can shape that up, you know, into language.
Are any of these programs not optional?
No, they're all optional.
Yeah, so I
There's
think,
there's no required something, it's,
yeah,
I mean, the ESY is per IEP,
yeah,
so,
so I think maybe differentiating between that and this policy might be helpful, just of like, what is, cause those 4 things are a little bit different, right? Like,
So- right, so they're technically all optional. ESY, we are required to provide per a student's individual needs. So ESY is no option in terms of offering.
yeah, we don't have any option, but if a
Correct.
parent didn't
But a
want someone
parent does
to
have the
ESY,
option to
they
not
did, yeah.
participate, correct.
Even if, But if it was in their IEP, they would.
Correct.
Because they would have agreed to that.
Correct. Yep. But the other options, yeah, they're family choice.
So I think having a definition of these is good, but like some of this sounds like a brochure, so maybe changing
Mm.
the language
Yep.
is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like MTSS is a invite only summer program, blah, 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 blah.
So, would you, you mentioned like definitions earlier, do you think that would be more appropriate here, like in terms of the programs we're currently offering, like define what they are?
Like I think like the ESY one is good, but like Summer Squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fun, interactive, hands-on activities with skilled instructors make for an exciting program for participating
Yeah.
students. That's
That's not policy.
not policy,
Yeah.
right? And that's not, I mean,
I think what we need to do is define, again, just shape up the purpose of what the
the
summer.
purpose of what the program
Yeah.
offering is.
Yep.
Yeah, I also think though, if, to go to Summer Squad, like it's not offered to all students in this district.
No.
It's it's specific, and that's not clear from this.
Okay.
Like the other one says like invite only, like that also is kind of a weird term in this world. Like I feel like it's like identified by school-based educators, like who's invited. If that's the same thing for Summer Squad, like what's the difference between Summer Squad and MTSS? Could students be invited to both? You know, like that's where like I think it gets really murky as far as like understanding it even from the school committee perspective.
I would
Yeah.
prefer, and you all can feel free to weigh in, I would prefer to not even have those terms in the policy, to be honest. Only because I think that the policy should speak more to what our goal, purpose, philosophy is around summer learning, right? And the programs themselves, I mean, programs change a lot, like names of programs and things like that, you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if we should just more shape up language that has to do with, this is what we believe in as far as summer learning in North Kingstown, this is the purpose we're fulfilling, this is the goals that we're setting, and we can speak to, like what you said around defining like eligibility, or how eligibility will be determined.
Like I would want a consistent process for eligibility. So I wouldn't want, because you go to Quid, you get invited to X, but if you go to Fishing Cove, you don't get invited to Y, even though you have a very similar profile to like each student. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so I would be looking for consistency in eligibility recommendations,
Mhm.
or, you know, like,
Yep.
like I think we need some language
Mhm.
within that. Not to say that it's not happening, but I definitely don't think that it is policy mandated at this point.
No, I agree.
I would also, I don't know if this is where it would be, but I do think having some consideration for timing matters. When we're talking about like access and eligibility, like the reality of North Kingstown is like you need to commit your kids to stuff
Mm-hmm.
in February, and if you don't, like you're not gonna have summer programming for your kids, and then you know, you find out your kid's eligible for Summer Squad in late April, May.
Sure.
Like, you know, like just thinking about some of those things from like a policy standpoint of like what's possible.
So when communications are
Yeah, I do
at,
think that's important, yeah, like when it goes out to parents and, you know,
Having
when
some
it goes-
consistency
how
with
it's
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, credit recovery at the high school is
Mhm. But that could
required
be
to come.
outlined.
Yeah, because that's coming late.
Yeah,
There's no way around it, because grades come out in June and they
Right.
can't commute, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
different though, and that could be outlined very clearly as well.
Okay. I can work on this.
okay.
Other thoughts from the committee on things that they would like to see or questions that they have for Rob regarding it?
Have you anything from a student standpoint that you know or you've seen?
Honestly, not really. I haven't ever been in summer school, and not many of my friends have
No.
been, so I don't think I'm really like the best person to get input from.
Mm-hmm.
What about from a teacher standpoint, Mia?
I agree with what Rob said as far as taking out the verbiage around the individual programs. I think that would be my only suggestion, is just focus on the policy in general and maybe
Mhm.
not get so nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do also agree that I think, you know, all the programs are so different, we offer so many of them, and, you know, there's always maybe reach out to Rachel and find out what some of the policies are around, like the MTSS stuff and.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't think I don't think there's anything on that
There
one.
isn't.
I think from a federal and state level, it's only ESY.
ESY.
That has,
ESY.
I think if North Kingstown decided they wanted to get rid of the other three, they
We could have
Yeah.
zero.
Okay,
You could just have ESY.
There's no.
I don't even think you're legally mandated to do credit recovery.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. I've
Really?
worked in high schools that didn't have it.
In
That's
Massachusetts,
crazy.
they charge for it.
I know
Yeah.
that.
In Lincoln, we did
Wow.
that. I started.
I just see it
in
because I
Lincoln,
see it
but we
on,
didn't have it before
I
that.
only see it on
Yeah.
certain transcripts.
It was
at my job.
Not good. The options they had were not good.
Such a delight.
Don't worry about it. To Abby's point a little bit, one thing that we may wanna like specify that these are like summer learning programs offered by North Kingstown, because, there are a lot of summer learning opportunities that kids pursue outside of us, like dual enrollment stuff, or, there's even like Prepare RI does things around summer internships and things of that nature, and there's a lot of students that access that we honor, like, these kids who take college courses in the summer, we've seen kids come back with that from URI or something. And we have like dual enrollment, language and that pertains to that, but that wouldn't apply under this policy.
Do we give them credit for it?
It would apply under this policy.
Yeah, so we should
Just a
mention
nice
it
sentence
then.
about external
Okay.
Yeah.
summer learning opportunities.
Yeah, there is something in here about that.
Okay.
About.
Yeah, there's something in here that you don't use it to further or accelerate.
Summer offerings taken from
Like
Richmond.
if you go take
Alabama
algebra
must be,
2
yeah.
somewhere, you're not that allowed to take pre-calc. Is that what that
Exactly,
means?
it's, E.
I don't know if that's what that means.
Summer
Just a question.
offerings which are taken for credit must adhere to the curricula adopted by the North Kingstown School Department. So there definitely is stuff in here about that, so
Mhm.
I would just make
Oh,
sure
that's
that we add
interesting.
something that addresses that.
My brain didn't even go there.
So this is something I'll have to touch base with the high school on that,
Okay,
because I know that they have a whole thing that they do with any kids who pursue like credit options over the summer, through like outside.
yeah, of course network.
Yeah, All Course Network is one,
Okay.
yep. Ride offers a lot now actually with that,
okay.
and colleges too, so some kids have taken, online classes in the summer for credit, so I'll have to just touch base with them on that.
Okay.
See
For
if-
out-of-district students, does that mean the students that are in the CTE programs?
Where are we here?
I saw
So,
I guess
Oh,
it's
that's
no.
your commentary is so
'Cause-
funny. Page 3, it's talking about out-of-district students,
Sorry.
and when they wrote this, that was not, 2020 maybe a little bit, but like,
I think that was probably not
like that's gonna be
CTE
sticky.
students.
Out of
I think we
district-
need to clarify
correct.
that.
Yeah, my guess
So
is
out of
that-
district participants required to make tuition payment.
Or not
Correct, they're referring to kids from other
No,
districts
I
who don't
understand
offer
that,
summer school.
but
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
in theory,
You could clarify that.
CTE students are out-of-district students.
Oh, But not in the purpose of this policy,
Well, we
right?
need to define it, is what I'm saying.
That's
If we
right.
don't wanna charge CTE
Put a
students, I
foot-
think
yeah,
we
just
should
put
be
a
very
footnote on it.
specific
Right.
about
Yep.
that.
Out
Yeah,
of
we're
district
definitely
students
not.
with the exception of, not in,
Currently
Yeah, students
enrolled
that are,
CTE
students that are
or
enrolled in
something,
our
yeah.
CTE
Right,
programs
right.
are considered in district
So
and
clarify
therefore would
that
not be
this
charged.
does not
Yeah.
apply
Like, I just think,
Yeah, we should
That
clarify
makes
that for
sense.
sure.
Yeah.
to,
good catch.
NKCT.
they're the arguing about me.
Okay, so Rob will clean up the athletic one and give it back to you. I will clean up the meal one and give it back to you. If you can take care of this one.
Yep.
I do think, I have one more quick comment on this, Chandra, sorry. With the credit recovery piece for the high school, I think it needs to reference the grading policy, because I believe, if I remember correctly, that when a student takes a class in a certain, like takes credit recovery, like they can only earn up to a 70.
Mm-hmm.
So like that,
Would be
which,
good to have.
yeah, which I have many, I don't quite understand the philosophy there, but like if that is our policy, then it should be, we should be
Mhm.
referencing that if we're talking about credit
Sure.
recovery.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
Okay, I wanna be respectful of people's time, so does anybody have any question of anything that we talked about? Okay, just the one other thing quickly is I put a proposed, draft for next year's, meeting dates, starting in September, in here. It's pretty much keeping like the same type of schedule that we did this year, so our next meeting will be September 14th. If anybody has any major issue with these dates, let me know, otherwise I'm gonna proceed with these dates, and if something comes up as we get closer, we will just have to change them. Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.